3, 2, 1, action.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to Always a Friday. Hey everyone, and welcome to Always a Friday.
So we have just spent a week in Kuala Lumpur and a week in Singapore, so we decided to do a joint review of both of them.
Yeah, we shouldn't really try and cram so much into one video, but we're going to give it a go. So Kuala Lumpur and Singapore are both amazing cities that first and foremost we want to fully recommend going and check out both places because they're amazing. But hopefully we'll expand a little bit on that. So we'll start with attractions in both places. What was your favourite from Singapore?
Probably Gardens by the Bay, and it was free, so that's even better.
Yeah.
But it was just a really amazing place to walk around, and I'd love to go back there because there was so much to see. We didn't have time to see it all.
And also in Singapore there is obviously Sentosa Island and Universal Studios, which we went to, and it was amazing.
Yeah, really, really good.
And of course, just walking around the city in Singapore. The city itself is an attraction. I love just walking around these cities.
Yeah, it's just an incredible place just to walk around.
Yeah.
Really friendly people.
Yeah. Now, Kuala Lumpur, favourite attraction, favourite thing we did there?
I love the Batu Caves. The dark caves there are really good as well.
Yeah, and the monkeys.
Wow. It was scary.
And also the Petronas Twin Towers, which
Yeah.
is, you know, the famous skyline of
Yeah, they were
Kuala Lumpur.
incredible.
They were really cool, but it was also cool to find our way there because we had to pass about 20 different shopping centres on the way.
The shops are incredible in both places. I've never seen so many shopping centres that are so big, and they just have, if you want to go shopping, go to Kuala Lumpur or Singapore because you will find whatever you need.
It's crazy. So moving on, accommodation. We ended up staying in Airbnb in both places, which we'd really highly recommend.
Definitely.
First of all, because the people in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore are so super friendly.
Yeah.
And
they live there, so it's like having a personal tour guide. They recommend the best places to eat, the best place to go, the best way to travel around, which is always really handy.
Yeah, so definitely stay in Airbnb unless you really want to splash out and stay in a crazy fancy hotel like the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore that we never got to go inside.
There's other hotels on a budget, or hostels and things like that.
Yeah, loads of hostels in both locations.
Really easy place to find accommodation.
Yeah, now on one little note is Kuala Lumpur is significantly cheaper than Singapore when it comes to accommodation. Our Airbnb in Singapore, which was very similar to the one in Kuala Lumpur, was double the price. That was £30 a night, whereas Kuala Lumpur was £15 a night. And the same goes with hotels. Hotels are going to be just that bit more expensive than Kuala Lumpur. So moving on, transport. Yeah,
I mean transport was so easy after coming from Nepal, which was really hard to get around.
Flashback.
Both KL and Singapore, so easy to get around.
Yeah, and a massive recommendation from us is use Uber. It's both really widely used in Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, and it was so much cheaper than the taxi.
It's so easy to get around.
Yeah.
Because you have like an app on your phone, you can find out an estimate of the price before you go.
Yeah, we definitely recommend using that. But also the other transport, both metros were incredibly good, really reasonably priced.
Clean, aircon,
monorail,
and they were just on time. They were really efficient. They come like every couple of minutes, and it was just both really easy places to get around.
Absolutely. So moving on to food and drink. Now Singapore, they had the amazing hawker stalls and so cheap, and it was so tasty. And obviously in Malaysia, same kind of deal, but also we had all of the homemade Malaysian sweets and cakes and stuff that were really tasty. Now the price does fluctuate with their kind of traditional food and the more expensive Western food.
Yeah, I mean if you're eating Western food, then you've got to expect you're going to be paying more if you go to like fancy restaurants, obviously. But we stuck to the hawker stalls, all the local food, and it's really reasonable and really, really tasty.
Yeah. Now, in both places, alcohol is really expensive.
Yeah, probably stay away from it.
We just didn't drink because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
We don't drink that much anyway, but wow. I mean, we paid £20 for a beer and a cocktail on Sentosa Island.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, both places are so expensive. I don't expect to go to Kuala Lumpur, anywhere in Malaysia, or Singapore and go on a booze up because you're just going to spend too much money. It's silly. So in our last review of a place, we did something called Peak and Pit. We're going to try and fit it in really, really quickly at the end of this video. What was your peak of Singapore?
Gardens by the Bay with the sun setting.
Awesome, that's a
And
pretty good
yours?
one. Peak would definitely be Universal Studios.
Mm-hmm.
It was simple, Transformers ride.
Yeah.
Enough said. And Pit of Singapore.
Probably the amount of money we spend, we have to just be a bit more careful
Yeah,
with
just
our
having
money.
to pay, that would be the same for me, just having to pay £30 a night for
Yeah.
accommodation, whereas in other places you can get it for 15. The amount of money that you can so easily spend. Now moving on very quickly.
Your peak of Kuala Lumpur.
I'm not sure. I think just the food. I think getting there and realising I could eat so much for so little. We got to a place, a really traditional Malaysian place to eat, and everything on the menu was like £1, and I was just going crazy. That was probably my peak, actually.
Yeah.
Funnily enough.
Yeah.
Your one?
Probably the shopping, because that's the first. I've never seen anything like it when we got there, and that's the first place I've seen when I was just like
Yeah. In fact,
speechless.
I can tell you right now, we've forgotten something. The peak of Kuala Lumpur was the fact that we flew there from Nepal and we got out of the airport and onto a tarmacked road.
Yeah, it was so smooth.
So very quickly, Pit of Kuala Lumpur.
I don't really have a pit, to be
That's
honest.
a good sign.
Yeah, but if I had to pick something, it would probably be the humidity. It was so humid there, and walking around, it was at some points quite unbearable during midday, wasn't it?
Yeah, we stupidly decided to go out of midday every day.
It was probably our fault.
Used to all of
really.
this.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So that was our review and our peak and pit of Singapore and Malaysia. I mean, you have to go to both places.
Yeah.
If you do just have to go to one, I think if you're more on a budget, you're probably better suited to Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to go all out, go to Singapore. And if you've got, money to spend or money to burn, if you've just got a 1 week vacation or you're on a honeymoon or something.
Yeah.
But if you're more of the kind of backpacker, Kuala Lumpur's a lot cheaper. But that being
Don't
said, don't let either of that put you off. Both places are amazing. Go to both places. We really enjoyed our time in Kuala Lumpur, really enjoyed our time in Singapore.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there. And in our next video, we are going to...
Myanmar!
Yeah, we're going to check out Burma, which is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to it, and we're really looking forward to bringing you all the footage and getting to know the country a bit more.
So excited to get there.
So yeah, we'll leave it there. Subscribe and like the button below. Give us a little thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. And comment if you've got any questions about either Kuala Lumpur or Singapore, or if you want to say you liked the video, hopefully you did. And we'll leave it there, and we'll see you in Myanmar.